Hi guys, I'm Jesse at Strobepro.com, and today I'm going to be showing you the Godox SZ200 Bi-Color LED light. This is the first LED from Godox that is both bi-color and has a Bowens mount on the front. So what that means is you can adjust the color temperature from 2800 degrees Kelvin to 6500 degrees, giving you a huge range. Plus you can also use your Strobepro accessories on the front, like softboxes, reflectors, whatever you want. Anything with a Bowens mount is going to work perfectly on there. So everything's obviously going to come in just a brown box there, but the important stuff is right here. So let's take a look at a couple of the accessory pieces. You are going to get a reflector, which is a Bowens mount, which you can use directly with your light. We have our power block here, and then we actually have the cord that goes into the power block and then into the wall. It's a nice long cord, so you're not going to have to worry about not being able to reach. You also get this little adapter here. It's a nice little option. So this just attaches to your stand. So you can Velcro it around the stand, and I'll show you in a minute how to do it. But goes on there, and then the power block goes in this piece, and then they're just going to connect together. It's a little V-mount clip on there, so when they're attached, they just go in like that and clip, and you can keep the power block nice and tidy. You've also got a retention clip here, which just connects together, screws together like that. It's just a safety clip, so if you're mounting this up high, you can use that to secure it. And then of course we have our actual light, and this is a really nice light. So let's take a look at how we connect this thing and all the features on it. Okay guys, just a couple of the features on the outside here. So the main thing you're going to notice is the yoke mount. This big knob right here loosens that off so you can bring it down. The nice thing about this is you can mount it vertically, or you can actually mount this horizontally if you want as well. If you've got it up in a ceiling or something, you really want to point it down like that. That gives you a nice option, so you're not going to have the handle catch or anything on this yoke mount. So really nice there. Another thing you're going to notice on this light, as well as the SZ200 RGB light, is this zoom. And if I pop this reflector or the cover off, you can see here that turning that extends it from 20 degrees to 65 degrees. So you can really zoom that in there. And I'm going to show you the effect of that in a second. But that's what that knob is for. And you saw that I just pulled off the protection cover. Always the most important thing to do before you're even getting started here, or even think about turning this on. It will melt extremely fast if you happen to leave that on. So our release switch right here, pull back, quarter turn, and it releases. It has a Bowens mount, so the great thing about this light is that it's going to fit all your Strobepro accessories, softboxes, reflectors, whatever you want, is going to fit directly on there with no adapters. Couple other things. So on the bottom, actually, you're going to see the new fan. It's yellow on the bottom there. We've got a bunch of holes across here, which helps in the cooling. We also have those on the top. So this thing actually has a silent mode, which allows you to run from 0 to 35% in silent, or if you're not using silent, you can go 0 to 100%. On the back here, I'll just show you real quick. This is where our power connector is going to go. We have a USB firmware upgrade here that we can use, and then just our power switch. So let's take a look at how we turn this on. We're going to attach the power block now, so you can just leave this on the ground if you want, but a better option is to use the included strap and mount this to the stand. So this is the little piece that I showed you before. It's the one that has the V-notch in there. We're just going to undo the Velcro on that and go over to the stand here. And when we put it against the stand, it kind of grips it. And I'm just going to secure that power block for a second and then just run the strap back into there. Once it's through, we can take this, tighten it down, and we are secure on the actual stand now. So the second piece to this is this little strap here. It's got the V-mount clip, which is going to attach to that. And we can just open the Velcro right here. And we can open the other side as well. And we're going to take where we connect the power cord from the wall, we're going to point that down. You can do it the other way if you want. It's just easier because that cable is going to be coming up right here. So all we're doing is just wrapping the horizontal strap around it first. Secure that, and then we're going to grab the other one, and you can run it up behind and then over and secure it like that. So now it's just being cradled there, and you just go over and take the V-mount clip, push it in, and it's going to lock into place. From there, we can just take the power cable, insert it in the bottom, and then we're ready to connect to the light. The SZ200 uses a yoke mount, so we can mount this vertically. We just back up the thumb screw onto any standard stand. It's going to then drop right on there. Just make sure it's back far enough. So we can go vertically like that, or if you were mounting from the ceiling or needed more rotation space, you can actually go horizontally as well, like that. For our purposes, we're just going to put it on vertically, tighten the thumb screw down, and now we can connect the power cable. The power cable is back here. It looks like this XLR connection, and you might have the cable tie on there, so you want to loosen that off. And we have a little clip there, so the clip goes facing to up, and if you need to pull that out, we push the release, pull straight back. So really easy to plug in and pull that cable out. To attach a modifier to the light is really easy. Right here I've got our included reflector, which has our Bowens mount right there, and that is just going to line up to the front of the light. So I can't really see where it is right now, but I just rotate till it drops in there, and then once it's secure, I'm going to give it a quarter turn to the left. It locks into place, and now that's not going anywhere. So that's the exact same way you would mount a softbox if you have it, or a snoot, whatever the modifier is that has the Bowens mount, they all mount the exact same way. To release it, all we're going to do over here is pull this little lever back. I pull that back, and at the same time, give it that little quarter turn the other way, and it's going to come right off. If you're using a heavier modifier, just make sure that you secure the weight of that when you release it, because a lot of times people will release that not knowing it's a big heavy modifier, and you could damage the protective cover here if you're not careful. The other thing to make sure, because this light is zoomable, to retract the zoom. So right now we're at our lowest position, and there's the longest. So it's all, you can see that it's a little bit more difficult to mount that when it's fully extended. So just keep in mind, turn that back, and then we're good to go. So let's finally turn on this light, and to do that is just with the power switch over here. So we flip that on, and you are going to see the new color LCD screen that Godox has put into its new line of high-end lights here. So right off the bat, this is going to be a little different than some of the other lights you might already have from Godox, because we have a color temperature rating there. So that's the big new feature of this light, and it's really easy to control. So right over here on the left, we have our color control. And so all we're going to do is take this dial and rotate it, and you can see the color changing on the background there. So we can go from 2800 degrees, and then I'm just going to go across the spectrum here all the way up to a really cool 6500 degrees. So that's where this light is really fantastic. You can easily color match this to any of your ambient light that you have in the room. You can really fine tune that and dial it in there. So we're going to keep it at daylight here just for this demo. But again, if you're buying this light, that is the main reason why you were buying the light, just for that ability to control the temperature. To control the power from the back of the strobe is just as easy. This is indicated by DIM there, which is at 60%. So that's just saying we're at 60% power. If I go down, you'll see I can scroll through that nice and quickly. We can go all the way to 0%, which is great for those really sensitive environments where a lot of lights will only go to 10%. So you can see there, and we'll bring it up to 100. It's probably going to flare out the camera a little bit. But we've got a lot of power available in this light, all the way up to 100% there. And then take it back down to 60% just for the video here. Okay guys, so here is the zoom feature, and I just want to mention before we start on that using the reflector with the zoom is going to be your most effective result. If you do this in a softbox, you're probably not going to really notice any difference. So right now we are turned all the way back to 20 degrees, which is going to be the tightest beam. And if I go to the side here and I just slowly bring that out, probably at about 40, 50, and then 65 degrees. So what you can see happening, now we're at 65, so the widest, is that the transitions, if you look at the tight spot there, and then going back, they soften out as you widen it. So we're at a tight beam, and you can really kind of see that hot spot in the middle, whereas we widen it out, that transition gets softer and softer, and you can see the spread widening out there. So we not only have our color adjustability mode there, we can also put on some special effects that this light has, and we do that by pushing this FX button. So from there, we're going to go right into a number of effects here. So this is like a camera flash. And as I mentioned, this dial actually does something else. If we click it, you're going to see the speed right at the top. So it was at 1, there it's at 2, there it's at 3. So most of these special effects have 3 different levels. It'll just speed them up or slow them down. So again, this is to simulate a thunderstorm. Here we have essentially like a broken light bulb. As we go through, we can do the different speeds of it, and it's just simulating that. Use the dial. This is supposed to be simulating like we're watching TV in a background. And we actually have 8 of these special effects. There's candlelight. You're simulating a fire. Fireworks. And then the all-important SOS if you run into trouble in the studio. So to get out of that, we can just push the FX mode. With different firmware upgrades, there may be more in the future. This is just the very first firmware version, and you might be watching this video later on. We could have some more in that menu. So I just want to show you a couple more buttons on the back here. Over here, we have a little symbol of a fan. So if we push that, we go into silent mode. So you saw right away, we were at 60% before, it dropped down to 35%. So if you go into silent mode, it turns off the fan for those really noise sensitive environments, but you are maxed out at 35% of the power. So keep that in mind. We can go lower if we want. We just can't go any higher than 35% in there. So it is useful for some situations, but if you need the full power of it, just keep in mind you're going to have to go back into regular mode, and then we can bring our power back up to wherever we want. Now, speaking of the fans, they are extremely quiet. This is a whole new design. We don't really have any issues. I'm standing right beside it with my mic here, and you can barely hear it. Any noise filter, if you run a pass in Premiere or something, it's going to take anything that's noticeable out very easily. So I don't think you have to worry about fan noise at all. So up on the top left, you can see the channel and the group there. To change those, to connect to the controller, there's a couple of ways we can actually control this light, as I've been doing directly from the light, or we can use the optional remote control from Godox, or we can use the free app for either Android or iPhone. So to set that group and channel, we just go into menu here, and we're going to use our dial, which rotates through there. And from there, we can just adjust our channel with the other dial, selecting from any one of 32 different channels. So let's just set that back to, we'll set it on 1. And the thing I like about these dials is the faster you spin them, it's not like you have to click through every single one. It's a nice kind of transition between them. So let's use the dial here to go to the group, and we can select A, B, C, D, and we can go into 0 to 10 as well. We're just going to set this on A. Go back into the menu. We have ID here as well. Just a word about ID. This just kind of isolates your channel down even further if you were having any interference with another controller or something. Most of the time I would just recommend not even setting this. A lot of people forget about it and then they forget to put it on the controller as well. So just be aware of that. I would most of the time keep that off. So in this current firmware version 1.1, those are the only options in the menu apart from the reset. Another way to control this light is with DMX, and you're going to notice a DMX button here. A lot of the Pro Series Godox lights are now coming with DMX. So if you pick up an optional DMX control board, you can plug these lights into that control board so you can use sliders to adjust them up and down. You can create light shows if you're using like a computer software program with it as well. So it gives you a lot of different options. So if I click DMX, it's going to say off right now, but then I can use the right dial here and set my DMX channel. And we'll hopefully have another video showing you how to do DMX with these lights in the future. But on the side, if you're wondering what this is over here, you have two RJ45 ports, which is just like an internet cable. You have an input and an output, so you can kind of chain them together so that they're all receiving the information as they need to for that DMX control. So that's in the panel over on the side. If we're not using DMX, just make sure you set it to off. Don't leave it on a channel there. And we can click DMX and turn that off. So guys, I'm just going to show you real quick how to connect this to your phone. I'm using an iPhone here. It's very similar with Android, and we do have a specific video that's coming out showing you all the different features of the app. So I just want to show you quick, and we're going to go into the menu. This is just a good idea to make sure we're starting off on the same page here. Just go to the reset and click reset. We're going to reset the light, so we're good. And we need to go and download the Godox light. And so we're going to open the Godox light. It has Demo Studio there. I'm just going to hit the plus button down on the bottom and just call this whatever. We'll call it AA here. Open this studio. It's going to save it here. And now we have our studio set up, and we need to add lights to that. So I'm just going to go up here to the top right. It says add, and I can see my lights that I have in the area that are turned on. So we have a CL10 that we're not using, but this is our SZ right here, and I'm just going to highlight it, click confirm. Now it's looking for that light. It's going to connect it. So it's connected, it's off the list there. Okay, so we have our light added into our group here, and we're going through Bluetooth, and now I can go over to the device control. So from this slider, I can adjust the brightness up and down. I can go over to this light because we have the Bi-Colour functionality. We can go all the way across, 56. Now you see this is showing it going up to 85. We know that this light only goes to 65, so it's going to stop once it gets there. You can see as I scroll up, 65, and it's going to stop. So just be aware of that. You're not actually going up, and it might be the same on the bottom end as well, depending what light you're using. So to get to our special effects, we just hit the top button here, and then we can scroll over to FX, and then all of the ones we can cycle through. So all of these effects in here, they might not be available on the light. You can look in the menu or on the back of the light here, but you can see we can just click them as we scroll down. So I know for one that it doesn't have a music setting, so when I click that, you see it doesn't select any kind of music setting. I know it does have fireworks, so when I click fireworks, it goes over to that setting, same like SOS or police car it doesn't have, but it has the TV mode. So you'll see that they kind of jump all around there, and again, those can be changed later, but we'll just go back to CCT mode, and this is mainly where you're going to be using that just to control the color temperature and the power from your app. So there you have it, guys. That's everything you need to know about the Godox SZ200 Bi-Colour light. A light that you can take all the way from 2800 degrees Kelvin all the way up to 65. It's a first of its kind from Godox. You can use all your Strobepro accessories on it. Anything with the Bowens mount is going to mount right to that. We have our zoom control. You've got the silent mode. The whole new screen, highly color accurate. So even in your most color accurate shoots, you can rely on this light to get the result that you need. So check out all the options that we have on the website. And until next time, I'm Jesse at Strobepro.com.